The Space Academy was getting ready for something new. 3 humans were coming to study with alien students for the first time. Commander Zixtar watched from his office window as the human ship landed on the Academy platform. The humans looked small compared to the other alien students. Jake Morrison walked first, followed by Lisa Park and Tony Rodriguez. They looked confident, which made some alien teachers worry. Humans had only joined the space community 3 years ago, and nobody knew much about how they fought wars. Commander Zixtar spoke to his class of 200 alien students. These humans come from a planet that never fought space wars. They never met other alien races until recently. Be kind to them as they learn our ways. A big alien student named Thrakmar made a rude noise. If they never fought real wars, what can they teach us? Jake Morrison turned around calmly. We fought many wars, just not with space weapons and flying ships. Some insect-like aliens in the back made clicking sounds like they were laughing. Commander Zixtar raised his arm tentacle to make everyone quiet. Today we start learning about war tactics. Each alien race will show videos of their best battles. The first video came from Zixtar's people. It showed their spaceships shooting laser beams at rebel planets from far away. Clean and easy. No mess. The second video showed giant warrior aliens in metal suits crushing through enemy lines with big weapons and better technology. Every alien video was the same. Advanced weapons, easy victories, very few deaths on the winning side. The alien students took notes about which weapons worked best. When Jake Morrison stood up to show the human video, the room became quiet. He turned on the big screen and stopped for a moment. Before we start, I should tell you something. Our wars happened on our home planet. Humans fought other humans using old weapons that you would think are very basic. An alien student with a crystal body whispered to her friend, "Fighting their own kind with old weapons? How savage." Jake heard her but kept talking. This video is from what we call World War II, about 80 years ago. The screen showed old black and white pictures of soldiers running onto a beach while people shot at them. The alien students moved closer, thinking they would see a quick fight that ended fast. Instead, they watched in growing fear as humans ran toward certain death wave after wave. Their old weapons could barely hurt the strong enemy positions. Thousands of humans died, but more humans kept coming. The goal was this beach, Jake said calmly, pointing at the sand covered in blood. Why it mattered? It let us reach the big continent. Enemy soldiers, 50,000 in strong positions. Our attack force, 150,000 humans, with only a little air help. Commander Zixtar's eye stalks shook. In space wars, numbers like that meant you gave up right away. No alien race would attack strong positions without much better weapons. The video kept playing. Humans pulled their hurt friends while bullets flew around them. They used their own bodies to protect fallen soldiers. When their guns broke or ran out of bullets, they picked up rocks and knives. Some fought with just their hands. Thrakmar's breathing machine made fast wheezing sounds. They are dying by thousands. Why don't they run away? Because running away meant losing, Lisa Park said quietly. And losing meant our enemies would keep killing innocent people. The word killing innocent people made several alien translators break down. This idea almost did not exist in space wars. When aliens won wars, they usually made the losers into slaves or moved them somewhere else. They did not kill everyone. The video changed to show human cities turned into broken rocks and dust. But people came out of basements and underground tunnels to keep fighting with whatever weapons they could find. Children as young as the youngest students carried secret messages through war zones, knowing they would be killed if caught. By the end of the first part, half the alien students sat without moving or talking. The other half were writing notes, very fast, trying to understand why humans used such wasteful fighting methods. Commander Zixtar's voice cracked through his translator. How many of your people died in this beach attack? About 40% on the first day, Tony Rodriguez said like it was normal. That was okay for what we gained. The crystal alien student's body actually became darker in her people's war. History. Losing 5% of your soldiers meant you had to stop fighting immediately and the commanders got in big trouble. Jake Morrison kept talking. This is just one small fight from one war. Humans have been fighting wars for about 5,000 years without stopping. Do you want to see videos from our other wars? The question hung in the air like poison gas. Commander Zixtar looked around at his shocked students and made a choice that would change the Space Academy forever. Class is over for today. We will continue tomorrow. As the alien students walked out very quietly, many of them were already writing messages to their families. They wanted to know about jobs that had nothing to do with fighting wars. Some were thinking about becoming farmers or teachers instead of soldiers. The three humans sat in the empty room, looking confused about why everyone seemed so upset. They had no idea they had just shown the most terrifying war videos in galactic history. Outside the classroom, alien students gathered in small groups, whispering about what they had seen. Many could not sleep that night. Some had nightmares about humans running into gunfire without fear. Others lay awake wondering what kind of species could fight like that, and still smile the next day. In the alien dormitories, emergency counseling sessions started that very evening. Students from 12 different alien races requested immediate meetings with psychological advisors. The Academy's medical staff worked through the night treating students for shock and anxiety. By morning, 43 transfer applications had been submitted to the Academy's administrative office. Students who had dreamed of military glory since their childhood were now asking to study peaceful subjects like art, music, and plant growing. The human exchange program had been active for exactly 1 day, and it had already begun to change everything. The next morning was different at the Space Academy. Many empty seats filled the classroom where alien students used to sit. 43 students had asked to change to peaceful studies during the night. Commander Zixtar felt worried as he watched the remaining students walk into the room. Jake Morrison, Lisa Park, and Tony Rodriguez sat in their normal places. They did not know that their war video had scared students all night. The alien students who stayed kept looking at the humans in a strange way, like they were seeing dangerous animals for the first time. Today we continue learning about human wars, Commander Zixtar said. His arm tentacles were shaking a little. But first I must talk about the transfer requests. This has never happened before in Academy history. A crystal-bodied student named Veltara raised her arm. Commander, my people's mind doctors looked at yesterday's video. They said it was designed to break enemy spirits through fear. It was not designed for anything, Lisa Park said simply. That is just what happened. Her calm way of speaking made the alien students feel more worried. Throckmar, the big warrior alien, moved uncomfortably in his strong chair. Your people fight without caring if they live or die? We fight for things more important than staying alive, Tony Rodriguez explained. Freedom, protecting innocent people, stopping mass murder. Sometimes you must be ready to die for something bigger than yourself. This idea seemed to hurt several alien species physically. Some aliens lived as group minds where one death did not matter much. Others valued individual strength above everything. The idea of choosing to die for ideas seemed like madness to them. Jake Morrison turned on the big screen again. Today we look at city fighting. This video comes from a battle in our city called Stalingrad. The pictures that came next made the beach attack look easy. Humans fought room by room, floor by floor, through broken buildings that looked like skeletons. They used long-distance rifles to kill enemies one shot at a time across whole city blocks. They crawled through underground sewers to place bombs under enemy positions. But what really shocked the alien watchers was how long it lasted. The battle went on not for hours or days, but months. Humans on both sides lived through conditions that would kill most space aliens in hours. They ate rats when food ran out. They melted snow to get drinking water in freezing cold. They did surgery without pain medicine and kept fighting with untreated wounds. The regular people were trapped in the city, Lisa Park explained as the video showed human families hiding in basement shelters. About 1 million innocent people died during the siege, mostly from hunger and sickness. An alien student from a water planet species actually fainted when she heard this. Her people had never killed innocent civilians in wars. They thought attacking non-fighters broke the natural laws of the universe. The video kept playing without mercy. Humans fighting, in cold that would freeze most aliens solid. Humans making weapons from scrap metal and unexploded bombs. Humans carrying hurt friends through active battle zones instead of leaving them behind. Throckmar's breathing machine was working very hard. How many humans died in this one battle? About 2 million, Tony Rodriguez replied. Soldiers and civilians together. This number was so far beyond normal space war losses that several translators could not process it. In the entire war history of Throckmar's warrior people, covering 3,000 years, total military deaths were less than 50,000. But Jake Morrison was not done. This battle lasted 200 days. It was considered a normal fight, for what we call the Eastern Front of World War II. Normal? Commander Zixtar's eye stalks drooped down. You mean there were other battles like this? Hundreds, Lisa Park confirmed. And World War II was not even our biggest conflict. We think about 75 million humans died in that war. The classroom became completely quiet. Even the air system seemed to stop making noise, as if the academy itself was holding its breath. Veltara's crystal body was now blinking on and off rapidly. That is more than the total population of most member worlds. We had about 2 billion humans at that time, Jake Morrison added helpfully. So it was about 4% of all our people. Another 15 students quietly picked up their things and left the classroom. Their footsteps sounded like drums at a funeral in the silence. Commander Zixtar made a quick decision. Maybe we should look at more recent human conflicts. Something less harsh. The three humans looked at each other. Tony Rodriguez cleared his throat. Actually, sir, our newer conflicts are usually considered more intense. Better weapons, more efficient killing methods, higher death rates per day of fighting. This statement caused a small stampede toward the exits. When the dust settled, the classroom had lost another 30 students. Jake Morrison looked around at the remaining students with something like sympathy. Should we continue with the Vietnam footage, or would you prefer to skip ahead to our anti-guerrilla operations? Commander Zixtar's translator made a sound like electronic crying. Class is over. Please report to your psychological counselors right away. As the shocked alien students walked out, many were already writing letters to quit military service completely. Several were thinking about asking for transfers to the farthest possible jobs from human space. The three human students stayed behind, looking at their notes for tomorrow's presentation on asymmetrical warfare tactics. They had no idea they had just caused the biggest exodus from military service in galactic history. In the hallways, alien students gathered in small groups, whispering about what they had seen. Many could not understand how humans could be so casual about death and destruction. Others wondered what other horrors human history contained. The Academy's communication systems were overloaded with calls from worried alien parents. News of the human war presentations had spread to the homeworlds, causing panic among military families who had never imagined such brutal forms of warfare. By evening, the Academy's medical staff was treating students for severe psychological shock. Some aliens had stopped eating. Others could not sleep without having nightmares about humans running through gunfire. A few had started shaking and could not stop. The three humans ate dinner together in the mostly empty cafeteria, still confused about why everyone seemed so upset by normal military history lessons. By the third day, only 37 students sat in Commander Zixtar's classroom. The Academy's hospital was full of alien students who could not handle what they had seen. Several alien governments were writing angry letters to the Galactic Council about mind warfare being taught as education. The three human students arrived to find empty space all around their seats. The remaining alien students seemed to be trying to stay as far away from the humans as possible. Jake Morrison, Lisa Park, and Tony Rodriguez looked confused by everyone's reaction to their war videos. Is everyone feeling okay? Lisa Park asked, with real worry. Many students seemed to be missing. Commander Zixtar's tentacles were shaking all the time now, and his eye stalks kept twitching. Maybe we should talk about theory today instead of more videos. Actually, Jake Morrison said, looking at his notes, today we plan to show guerrilla warfare and insurgency tactics. We have some really interesting videos from our conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq. The remaining alien warrior Throckmar made a sound like air escaping from a broken breathing mask. More videos? Oh yes, Tony Rodriguez said excitedly. These conflicts show how human determination can beat superior technology. Very useful for space war situations where you might face better enemy equipment. He turned on the big screen, showing humans in desert clothes moving through city environments. At first it looked more normal than the previous videos. The weapons were clearly better. The soldiers had nicer equipment and worked together well. Then the video changed to show the enemy view. Humans who had been invaded, fighting back with homemade bombs, hit-and-run attacks, and a willingness to die that made the alien students feel sick. The interesting thing about guerrilla warfare, Lisa Park explained, is that the weaker side can win through pure stubbornness and willingness to accept deaths. She showed a part where a single human fighter attacked a convoy of armored vehicles, with nothing but explosives tied to his body. The alien students watched in horrified fascination as the human calmly walked toward certain death, exploding himself to destroy military equipment worth millions of credits. Veltara's crystal body was now blinking so fast it created a strobe light effect. He killed himself, on purpose, for no strategic gain. Actually, there was significant strategic gain, Jake Morrison corrected. That attack forced the occupying army to completely change their supply operations, costing them about 10 million credits and reducing their effectiveness by 30%. But he died, Throckmar wheezed. Yes, but his cause lived on. Tony Rodriguez replied like it was obvious. One death that saves 1,000 lives or secures freedom for 1 million people is considered an excellent trade in human military thinking. The video continued, showing years of grinding warfare where neither side had overwhelming technological superiority. Humans fought humans in environments ranging from frozen mountains to burning deserts, using whatever weapons they could get or make. But it was the civilian impact footage that finally broke the remaining alien students. Jake Morrison showed pictures of human children who had grown up during the conflicts, knowing no world other than war. Children who played games involving homemade explosives and guerrilla tactics. Children who thought the sound of gunfire and explosions was a normal part of daily life. These children were born into active war zones, Lisa Park explained. Many of them never experienced peacetime until they became adults. A plant-like alien student named Yelmoth began releasing stress chemicals so strongly that other students had to cover their breathing equipment. In his plant people culture, exposing children to violence was considered the worst form of species betrayal. How long did these conflicts last? Commander Zixtar asked, though his translator was barely working through his distress. The Afghanistan conflict ran about 20 years, Tony Rodriguez replied. Iraq was initially shorter, but sectarian violence continued for over a decade afterward. 20 years? Throckmar's breathing machine was making alarming whistling sounds. Your species maintained active warfare for 20 years? Oh, that's nothing, Jake Morrison said with a slight smile. Our 100 Years' War lasted 116 years. The 30 Years' War devastated most of Europe. We've had conflicts spanning multiple generations where grandchildren finished wars their grandfathers started. This revelation proved to be the final breaking point. Veltara stood up, her crystal form now barely holding together. I formally request immediate transfer to civilian education programs. I agree, wheezed Throckmar. Me too, secreted Yelmoth through his chemical cloud. Within minutes, every single remaining alien student had submitted transfer requests. Commander Zixtar found himself alone in the classroom with 3 confused humans and a pile of resignation, paperwork that would take days to process. Jake Morrison looked around the empty room. Did we say something wrong? Commander Zixtar's eye stalks drooped until they nearly touched the floor. You've just convinced the finest military students from 47 different species to abandon warfare as a career choice. Is that bad? Lisa Park asked. From their perspective, Commander Zixtar replied, you've demonstrated that humans are essentially weaponized death wishes with opposable thumbs. Tony Rodriguez frowned. That seems like an oversimplification. Is it, though? Commander Zixtar activated his emergency communication device. I need to contact the Galactic Council immediately. I think we have a problem. As alarms began sounding throughout the academy, the three human students exchanged confused glances. Should we prepare tomorrow's presentation on nuclear warfare? Jake Morrison asked helpfully. Commander Zixtar's translator simply made a long, electronic scream. Outside the classroom, emergency meetings were being held by academy administrators. The complete collapse of the military education program was unprecedented in galactic history. Phone calls were flooding in from alien governments demanding explanations. In the dormitories, the few remaining alien students were packing their belongings with shaking hands. Many had requested immediate transport home, unwilling to spend another night on the same planet as the humans. The Academy's psychological counseling staff was completely overwhelmed. Alien students were exhibiting symptoms that had no names in their languages: existential terror about the nature of warfare, inability to function in combat simulations, and what human doctors would recognize as severe post-traumatic stress disorder. Several alien species were holding emergency government meetings to discuss whether contact with humans should be limited or banned entirely. The footage shown at the Academy had been transmitted to military analysts across the galaxy, causing widespread panic about human military capabilities. Some alien military commanders were recommending immediate defensive preparations against potential human aggression. Others suggested offering humans anything they wanted to ensure they remained friendly. The three human students remained completely unaware of the chaos they had caused. They spent the evening in the empty cafeteria, reviewing their notes and wondering why everyone seemed so upset about normal military history lessons. Tomorrow's presentation on nuclear warfare would never happen. By morning, the Galactic Military Academy would be officially closed for the first time in its 1,000-year history. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened within 48 hours, an unprecedented response time that reflected the severity of the situation. Representatives from 47 species gathered in the crystalline halls of the Council, chambers on Nexus Prime, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, pheromone releases, and electronic translations. Ambassador Kretak of the Velvari Empire stood before the assembly, his usually composed demeanor showing signs of strain. Fellow council members, we face an unprecedented crisis. The Galactic Military Academy has experienced complete organizational collapse. The holographic display behind him showed disturbing statistics: a 97% dropout rate among non-human cadets, mass resignations among faculty, and formal requests from 12 species to ban humans from all military educational programs. Furthermore, Kretak continued, preliminary psychological evaluations indicate that exposure to human military history has caused lasting trauma among cadets from species with previously exemplary military traditions. Counselor Zephyra of the insectoid Zephyrians buzzed anxiously. My government has been forced to establish specialized treatment centers for affected cadets. They exhibit symptoms previously unknown to our species: persistent nightmares, inability to function in combat simulations, and what human psychologists apparently term existential crisis regarding the nature of warfare. The human delegation sat quietly in their designated section, consisting of Admiral Susan Blake, General Paul Martinez, and Ambassador Carol White. They had requested permission to address the council, but the other species seemed reluctant to hear from them directly. Representative Thokval of the Krillian Empire, his massive frame trembling with barely controlled emotion, spoke through his breathing apparatus. The cadets describe human warfare as incompatible with rational thought. Our finest military minds, beings bred and trained for combat across multiple generations, have requested reassignment to agricultural programs. The Ashkari delegation supports immediate restrictions on human military information sharing, announced Velmora, her crystalline structure pulsing with agitated light patterns. Our cadets have declared human warfare tactics to be a form of ritualized species suicide. Several have taken vows of pacifism. Ambassador Kretak called for order as the chamber erupted in various species-specific expressions of distress. The question before this council is clear. Are humans too dangerous to integrate into galactic military structures? Admiral Susan. Blake stood slowly, her movement causing several alien representatives to instinctively back away. With respect, Council members, I believe there's been a fundamental misunderstanding. The chamber fell silent, though whether from respect or fear was difficult to determine. The footage shown to cadets represents human warfare during our pre-space flight period. Admiral Blake continued. These were conflicts between human factions using primitive technology. They don't represent how humans would fight alongside galactic allies against common enemies. General Paul Martinez joined her. Our warfare was so brutal precisely because we were fighting ourselves. Humans understand human psychology, human tactics, human determination. When fighting an enemy that shares your species' capabilities and mindset, conflicts become intensive. You're saying this level of violence only occurs in human versus human conflict? Commander Zixtar had been specially transported from the Academy to provide testimony. Exactly, Ambassador Carol White confirmed. When humans fight alongside allies for common causes, we adapt our tactics to minimize casualties and achieve objectives efficiently. The footage shown represents worst-case scenarios where retreat meant extinction and compromise was impossible. The alien representatives exchanged various forms of communication, processing this information through their cultural filters. Counselor Zephyra buzzed thoughtfully. But the psychological profiles suggest humans routinely accept death as an acceptable outcome in combat situations. We accept risk, General Martinez clarified, but only when the cause justifies it. Protecting civilians, defending allies, preserving freedom. These are causes worth dying for, but we prefer to live for them. Representative Thakval's breathing apparatus wheezed skeptically. Your species' history suggests otherwise. Admiral Blake activated her own holographic display, showing recent human military operations, precision strikes with minimal casualties, evacuation operations prioritizing civilian safety, and peacekeeping. Missions focused on protecting non-combatants. This represents human military doctrine for the past 50 years, she explained. As our technology improved and our conflicts became less existential, our tactics evolved to prioritize precision over destruction. The footage showed human soldiers providing medical aid to enemy combatants, sharing food with civilian populations, and risking their own lives to prevent collateral damage. It was warfare that the alien species could recognize and understand. Ambassador Kretak's eye stalks straightened slightly. This is more conventional. But humans retain the capability for total warfare if necessary, General Martinez added. That's what your cadets witnessed. It's not our preferred method of fighting, but it remains an option if our species' survival is threatened. The implication hung in the chamber like a cloud of toxic gas. Every species present understood that humans were simultaneously offering friendship and delivering a warning. Counselor Zephyra's buzzing took on a different tone. You're saying humans can fight like civilized beings, but choose not to limit themselves to civilized methods if the situation demands otherwise? Correct, Admiral Blake confirmed. We believe in proportional response. Galactic peacekeeping operations call for galactic peacekeeping methods. Existential threats call for other methods. The silence that followed was profound and thoughtful rather than terrified. Finally, Ambassador Kretak spoke. The Council requires time to process this information. However, I believe we can reach an accommodation. He activated his own display, showing proposed modifications to human integration protocols. Humans will be assigned to specialized units within galactic military structures. Your species' psychological profile suggests you function best when protecting others, rather than engaging in conquest. We can work with that, Ambassador White agreed. Additionally, human military history will be classified and restricted to senior command levels only. It's clear that exposure to such material requires significant psychological preparation. General Martinez nodded. We're willing to provide gradual acclimatization programs for alien officers who need to understand human capabilities. As the council session concluded, representatives from various species approached the human delegation with newfound respect, mixed with healthy wariness. The humans had successfully demonstrated that they could be trusted allies, while making it clear that they would be terrifying enemies. 3 months later, the Galactic Military Academy reopened with revised curricula and new psychological screening procedures. Human cadets were enrolled in separate programs designed to teach them galactic warfare conventions, while alien cadets received carefully edited versions of human military theory. Jake Morrison, Lisa Park, and Tony Rodriguez found themselves assigned to the newly created Department of Extreme Scenario Planning, where their knowledge of human warfare methods was considered invaluable for preparing defenses against potential extragalactic threats. They never did get to show their presentation on nuclear warfare. Commander Zixtar, after extensive therapy, was promoted to Dean of Interspecies Military Relations. His first official act was to establish the Human Studies Program, designed to help alien officers understand their human allies without suffering psychological trauma. The program's motto, suggested by the human delegation, was, "Know your friends as well as your enemies." In the margins of the official reports, several species made private notes about the curious human concept of speak softly and carry a big stick. They were beginning to understand that humans had been speaking, very softly indeed,